Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. This is your family, man. Welcome home, no judgment zone. This week's episode, the season premiere of season 6 of the Medicine Ball Podcast. Man, it's been too long. I don't have much time. Let's get right into it so we can get it popping. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, man, it's been too long. First things first, as Mamba is bothering me right now because he's like, man, we back to sitting in front of this thing. Yeah, we back to sitting in front of this thing. First things first, man. Y'all need to, go follow my social medias. Medicine Ball LS3. I have begun putting more video out. I got my TikTok going. You know what I mean? I got a Snapchat under that same name. Y'all go follow it because chances are after you hear this, hear where we've been and what we've been up to, y'all gonna want to go look at this, man. So let's get into this episode, man. I think it's important because I'm back in Atlanta for now, and in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading back down to Florida. Medicine Ball LS3 or LS3, why you in Florida? Well, last season, we had a lot of talks about, self-development and just like personal growth. And I related a lot of that episode to things that were going on in my personal life. As many of you are, if you follow, I know some people are going to be new. I know some people know exactly what's going on, but for my potentially new listeners, long story short, man, I began this journey, a couple of years ago, and I was in corporate America and just applying this new person that this new identity, because that's what it is. It's a new identity. Applying this new identity allowed me to, and just my previous experience in corporate America allowed me to kind of shoot up rather quickly. Ended up really quickly in a management position. I spoke a lot about just dealing with different personalities within management. I learned a lot. And long story from there, I'm going to keep it a buck. Corporate America, and well, let me not say this, because, you know what I mean? If you're dealing with an ant colony, you need worker ants. Everybody can't be the queen. Everybody can't be the fighter ants or whatever, or the scouts. You need people to play their position. So I want that to be known before I say what I'm about to say. Chances are, if you're called, right, because let's take it to the religion. If you're called to do something else, if God has given you certain talents and gifts and they're not meant to be used in certain areas, it's not going to work out for you. Corporate America, for the average financially literate person, is built to chew you up and spit you out, period. And I mean, it makes sense. I'm a business owner. I've owned businesses for like the last 15 years, whether it be production of beats, the medicine ball thing. I'm familiar with it, right? when you start working for somebody and you a for real business person, you understand money and how money works and how dollars works. It's gonna bother you. It's gonna bother you. Like my strategy has always been when it comes to a corporate job, I'm gonna give them my all, right? Especially if it comes to leading other people. But I'm about to stack the bread up, get as many benefits as I can from the company, and then deal with it with a grain of salt. So as I've been on this journey of like just, spiritual, personal growth, self-development, so forth and so on, and heavy on the spiritual part, I learn more. And now that it's been separated, because long story short, I and I'm just trying to be like diplomatic with how I say it, but I'm gonna have to keep it real. Like I was used, right? My particular project manager lied to me straight up, right? And this has been some distance, but I can kind of, my emotions aren't involved in it because I've been on the stuff. But long story short, she hired me and another girl, right? And she's a sister. The other girl within 2 weeks was ready to quit, and I think within 3 weeks just went ghost for a week. So my manager comes to me, damn near crying, like, "Yo, just hold me down," and just gaslight and just feeding me like, "Yo, I really stuck my neck out for you." Da 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 da. When in retrospect, if you can't do the job, it's either you can do the job or you can't. When it comes to a numbers based environment, all that other stuff don't really matter, right? But at this point, I was really into being a leader and being self-development, swallowing my pride and doing hard things. I was with that. I knew it was fishy, but I was still with it because it was bigger than me. It was more about my team. And for me personally, the thing that fulfilled me was dealing with my team every day, dealing with multiple people whose lives I could touch. It was never about the money. It was never about the job being dope, besides dealing with other people and helping them. And I knew it. So in my particular situation, I feel fairly confident saying now that I believe God. I want y'all to hear me out. If y'all new, man, go back and listen to some other episodes, because a lot of the stuff I talk about has to do with my spiritual growth and my beliefs and the good news, the gospel, right? But I feel like with me, God was like, "All right, bro, this is not what I really want you to do. You was doing this medicine ball thing, but I can see how this can incorporate into you, you know what I mean, being a life coach or being a mentor, so forth and so on." I really feel like God put me in that position to learn certain things, grow in certain areas and characteristics in my life, and then he took it. I literally feel like he was like, "Yo, here's a taste of this. Since this what you want to do so bad, you want to be this big corporate guy and get the money and all of this. Here's a taste of that. Now, boom, let me take that from you." It took me a while to get to that point. And for those who have been following, y'all know I also lost my grandmother. So all of this was happening around the same time. I literally went on a birthday trip, and now let me let y'all know exactly how I got let go. I went on a birthday trip, right? Took some time off. I came back. My second day back, I had a meeting with my boss just thrown on my calendar. I'll go to the meeting. She's like, "Yeah, the company's telling us we have to let go of two supervisors. So you're one of the supervisors." And I knew it was cap because she was like, "Well, this could be a reason, or this could be a reason." She said all of that, and at the end of that, she was like, "Well, let's not even get into that because that's not what's going on here. You're just being laid off pretty much." So it took me some time to get through that, and I believe like I was right towards the middle or beginning. I can't remember, somewhere in season 5, and I used season 5 to kind of talk through that, let you guys know what was going on, and be very transparent with what was going on with me. For me, it became a thing of, I produce music. I have certain talents. I have this podcast and this whole medicine ball thing that has a website. I have merchandise. I do have people who are willing to listen. What you gonna do with it? Now, that's gonna segue into, what I've realized is, especially with friends, like the kind of friends I have, if it's a deep friendship, I don't know if there's anybody who I would consider a call a friend that I actually talk to and communicate with, so forth and so on, in my life right now, that I haven't known at least 10 years. So all of that to say, um, I always try to keep good relationships and could keep like-minded. I'm not gonna say 100% like-minded, because my friendship circles, they have their own beliefs. My whole friendship circle ain't all Christian. You feel me? Some of my friendship circle don't even believe in God. You follow me? But me personally, when I got into this whole life coaching thing and even with the spirituality thing, I took the approach that I'm gonna let my actions speak louder than my words. And when I actually redid my spiritual test not too long ago, you know, empathy, shepherding, and evangelism was my three talents. You know what I mean? And evangelism isn't necessarily speaking it, but it's the way you live. But all of that to say, I had a situation with a friend. Now we getting into the story. Let's get into it. I had a situation where I have a good friend. She disappears. Like these last couple of years, and just over the time that I've known her, she'll disappear and go to Florida. Now, mind you, she's originally from like Alabama, been in Atlanta a majority of her life, but she would have these things where she would disappear and go to Florida. Now she white, and it's important that I say that because it's gonna make sense in a minute. She white, and all her friends is black up here in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Um, Very dope person. We don't necessarily share the same spiritual beliefs, but we share some of the similar human beliefs about how to treat people, understanding, how to communicate, understanding how our love language is, how we are to other people, and what we're put here for. So me and her is locked in. But anyway, she disappears, and I started hearing more and more about this crabbing business. Her parents have this crabbing business. Now, mind you, I've been across the country. I'm decently traveled when it comes to the United States of America, but it's certain pockets and certain industries that if you know, you know. If you're not in them, you have no idea that like somebody going out here on a boat catching the seafood that everybody like to eat, a juicy crab or whatever, like that folks is making bread off of that. So she got this crabbing business. So she had kind of been talking to me about it. And when I got laid off from my job and I was just kind of confiding in her, she was like, well, it's not much money, and it's not no money. So, and I think it's important that I say that because sometimes when it comes to finding ourselves and going on these journeys and whatnot, we have to do things for different motivations. If I was motivated specifically by nothing but money right now, it might cost me an opportunity for number one, to miss more money, but number two, to learn something and become the best version of myself, to be doing my evangelism in the way that I live in a new environment, so forth and so on. So she's explaining to me about this crabbing business. I've met her mom, and her father is the guy who owns it. Never met him, right? Never met him, but apparently, you know what I'm saying? And I want y'all to follow me. This season gonna be dope, and I'm about to tell y'all why. Because it's like with me diving into this business, it's broken down in the seasons. But her father is legendary. I'm gonna get more into that. But especially when it comes to this boat and this crab and stuff, legendary, right? So she's telling me about this business. She's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's a chance for you to come down to a new place, experience some new things, possibly see if you could like it. You will be helping me, so forth and so on. Now, she is a woman. So when they explain certain stuff, and I know she could laugh about it because she's like 120 pounds. She has some back issues, so she ain't doing no lifting. It's a lot of lifting. Think deadliest catch, but dial down a little bit. So she's explaining to me the situation, and we're gonna stay together in one of her parents' homes, and the shop isn't far from the home. And right now, I would just be dealing around at the shop, and I'm gonna be dealing with live crabs and a customer facing, so forth and so on, right? So at this point in my life, man, I be hard on myself, right? So even though God may have laid me off from that job for me to focus on medicine ball or something like that, I was finding it real hard that I wasn't getting up every day and doing a task, which we're gonna talk more about all of this, because some people might be in these situations, but I was really having a problem with getting up every day, not doing the task and not generating money in the quote unquote traditional way, working for somebody else, which is really kind of what it is. It was hard for me to try to get into, and I always work for myself at the medicine ball, but it's just like when you waking up and that's it, that's different. So I was more open to going down. You know what I mean? Last year I went to Oregon, and I kind of like this idea of being able and having these opportunities to live into these in these different places each year. So I was like, yo, I'm with it. Mamba going with me. We head down to Florida to a little place called Punta Gorda. Puntagorda. I don't care if y'all know where it's at, cause if y'all trying to find out where that is, like, yeah, you ain't got no business down there if you ain't doing certain stuff. You know what I mean? And I remember getting off the exit. It was an 8-hour trip. I packed up my stuff, packed up some clothes, because I ain't never I've been to Florida, but just like touch it, just to touch it, like on a like spring break trip or something. This was long term. Pack up, pack mom up, and pretty much on faith, I go down here. And man, it is a different world. Like, number one, Florida is one of the flattest states known to mankind, right? That's the first thing I want to throw out. Number two, man, if you've never been to Florida before, and especially if you like check me out, man. Georgia right on top of Florida. But man, the weather is day and night. I've been wearing hoodies the last few weeks. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping actually under the covers. You know what I mean? Window open, being able to be outside. Man, I had this idea of Florida, but when I get here, it's a country place. It's a country place. I get off the exit. I take 75 for like 6 hours, right? I get off this exit. It's in the middle of nowhere. It is in the middle of nowhere. Not too far off the exit, I busted left onto what will now become a very infamous place for me. It's called Tammy Annie, and that's short for Tampa to Miami. So I guess this little road, and it's 2 lanes each side, right? 4 lanes total. But they treat this little road like an expressway because it like sometimes the speed limit go all up from 45 all the way up to 70. So I'm looking at this. I pull down this back road, and if y'all want to see what this look like, go follow me online. Medicine Ball LS3. All these pictures is there. I've been steadily gathering and dropping, putting videos together. Go look at it because I'm going back for season 2. This is considered season 1 of the Crab Adventures. So, and I want y'all to know what this looks like because I want y'all to understand like what I've actually gone through and how it played an effect in what I'm gonna be talking about this season and me growing. So it's dark. So I'm in a luxury car, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not trying to cap or nothing, but I'm saying that to say when I turn down the road, it's all rocks. It's all gravel. Now, my great grandmother is from Utah, Alabama. EUTAW. A lot of my family, my mother's side is from Alabama, but she was from Utah, Alabama. And when I'm talking about country, I'm talking about you burning your garbage type country. You feel me? I'm talking about out there, this big tin metal aluminum bucket in the old school wash thing, the washing board. I done seen that. You feel me? I'm talking about my great grandmother raking the yard. Y'all might not know about that. What y'all know about y'all grandparents or your parents or your great grandparents raking this dirt yard, right? It was on that type of action when I turned down this road. So I get into this mindset like, whoa. So I pulled down this gravel road, and now y'all know how y'all neighborhood might look, right? If you go look out your window right now, you look up the street, you see, a road, and chances are there's other roads and these signs that go down to other places in your neighborhood, right? They had the exact same thing, but all these roads had grass on them. It was so remote. It's like 3 or 4 rows, they just all grass. They all grass and it's not even gravel, it's shells. We down in Florida, it's shells. So I pull up with Mamba, I hop out, and I'm glad I'm reliving this with y'all because like y'all, this gonna be a loaded season. I hop out, I grab Mamba, and you know what I'm saying? He need to walk. Now I'm in this country looking road, so I just start walking this man down the road because I'm waiting on my people. What we gonna call her? Cause I don't want to put her out there like that, man. I'm waiting on my people, man. We just gonna what we gonna call her, man? We gonna call her Franklin. It's a good reason for that. So I'm waiting on my homegirl Franklin. So I don't really know where I'm at. I can't get into the house. It's a ranch style home. It doesn't look that big. Let me tell y'all what I see when I hop out my car. It's a lake behind it. To my left of me, it's just all woods. In front of me, it's just like all woods. It's the shell road, but it's all woods. Behind me, there's a house and there's a camper on the property. Right? Country, man. I mean, I'm telling you, my first 2 weeks there, I was just walking around like I got the horses in the bag, right? There's some type of vibe. So I'm starting to walk Mamba, and I'm walking him down this road, and I walk. You could tell that they're kind of lots. I walk past one lot that has. Now this time I don't know what I'm looking at, but they're crab traps, and it's like hundreds of them. And I walk a little further, and it's like this little cul-de-sac area. Now, mind you, there's a lake behind these lots. So I walk past a cul-de-sac, and there's some white guy in a red pickup truck. Now, mind you, I'm a black guy from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? I'm well traveled. You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking, boy, if I wanted to just stereotype somebody, that dude definitely racist, right? It's a reason I'm saying this, though. There's a total reason that I'm saying this. walk my dog, get back. I'm standing in the driveway. Franklin pulls up, right? She's laughing and she's like, yeah, somebody called my dad and said there's some black guy walking around out here. So I already know kind of what and I ain't take it personal. You feel what I'm saying? Like I am a black guy walking around these roads and from what I know now about that area and roads, hell, if I was living over there and I seen a black guy walking around that area, I would feel some type of way because it's just like you either down there to fish, party in that little cul-de-sac, or you over here cleaning crab traps or something, which I now know. Now, I think it's very important that I say this because for me it goes without saying, but that's Mamba, y'all. Mamba, welcome to season 6. For me, it goes without saying, like, I don't hang out with like a ton of dudes. You feel me? Like, as I'm on this journey and I have certain principles and morals, like, I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of dudes, especially I hang out with black dudes, like, they be on stuff that don't align with the things I'm trying to do. You feel me? If you married and you think you're gonna go hang out with me and cheat on your wife, like it ain't gonna happen. You feel me? If you think you're gonna hang out with me and patronize a woman or sexualize a woman in a disrespectful way, it's just not gonna happen. So unfortunately, in my age range and some of the being where I'm at, they just on that. So all of that to say, I have a lot of female friends. I got 4 older sisters, right? I I I I that allows me as long as I've known, man, like I just hang out with women, bro. It ain't nothing wrong with that. And it's a lot of the times it's because I'm not thirsty, cookie, cookie, cookie. If you my friend and you a female, that's it. I don't care what you look like. You feel what I'm saying? And that goes into looking at people for more than just what you see visually. You know what I mean? You know how many times that like and I'm just gonna keep it real. It's an attractive young lady to everybody else, but because I got a certain relationship with her that don't have nothing to do with that, I don't see her that way. So for me, it goes without saying, me and Franklin ain't got nothing going on. We're literally friends. She's more of a sister to me, which goes into a lot of why her father is helping me take on this whole crabbing thing. But we ain't got nothing going on. And we've been kicking it and traveling and doing stuff for so long that I be forgetting when we walk it can look a certain type of way. But I want to make that be clear as I start talking about, yeah, because me and this person are living in the same house. You feel me? We hanging with each other. When we go out to bars, sometimes we go together. But she got her own life and her own boo and her own thing. I be having my own thing. We talk to each other about relationships. So I think that's very important to throw that out there. Um, so the guy, the other thing I want to throw out about Florida is, man, the heat is different. The heat is different. Like I'm a natural fall person, but one thing about me, I do not like heat. I do not like the humidity. I don't like the sweat. Like when I was heavier, one of my main reasons for wanting to get back into like athletic shape is so I can be like, yo, am I always hot and sweating because I'm out of shape? Which I later realized, like I just run hot. Man, it feels like hot breath. Like imagine Mamba just breathing, but every time you walk outside. I think that's important. So that's something else. So as she's laughing about this guy who I'll say his real name. His name is Phil, who I later, and this goes back to evangelism and all that. Me and him actually become friends. I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit more about Phil towards the end of this episode and throughout. So I start to realize what's going on. It's a ranch style home. It's hot. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm at now, mind you, I have some things that some would consider country that I'm into. Like I like to fish, like for real fish. I love largemouth bass fishing for them. And it's been years since I've been in a situation where I've had access to a lake or somewhere to fish, literally a couple of steps away. So I'm looking at that, so forth and so on. Boom. Next thing that I realize is they got something called a well water system down there, bro. And it's these big filters and it just smells bad. And this is no disrespect to any of the people who live there. They'll tell you the same. Most of them are used to it. It's bad. The water tastes bad. It smells bad. I spent so much money on just like buying bottled water. Mama wouldn't even drink that to cook with, so forth and so on. So I'm still excited because I'm in this new environment and I'm experiencing new things. And the next day we go ahead and go up to the shop, which isn't far away from, their home. We're dealing with live blue crabs. parents have a shop. There's another young lady who works up there. So I'm working with two ladies, two white women, right? I think that's important to say. And in this situation, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Now, I just want to pause for a second because I mentioned something about it not being worth the money. That's just right now. I have the potential to. I've seen the upside, the other side of it, and I mean, like it's nothing if you grinding to get $1,000 to $2,000 a day. But ain't nobody gonna let you just come out, get a boat, drop your crab traps in the water, and start making money. It ain't that type of community. So that's why the things that I'm going through now have a bigger potential. So I just want to throw that out because I know people are like, well, if you went from this job to this job, why would you? The potential is there, and it really goes beyond that with the ability to captain your own boat, tours. It's just like the earning potential is there. So we go up to the shop. It's another white lady there. We're gonna call her Jay. Phil, the guy who called Franklin's parents about the black guy walking around, is Jay's dad. It's a small country vibe, right? Now, I didn't know that at the time because I didn't even know Jay, the other girl. But so I'm up there with Franklin and Jay, and I'm like seeing how it works, how they dealing with the public. I walk into this big cooler with boxes of live blue crabs of all various sizes. The smells that you gonna deal with around seafood now, I mean, and at this point, like I've smelled worse because, spoiler alert, I end up on a boat crabbing way earlier than I could have ever anticipated. But some of these smells is wild. You dealing with these, go look online. Y'all follow me, man, right? You dealing with these blue crabs of various sizes. So I started learning the game, you know what I mean? Different sizes of the crabs, how you grade them out. Medium, large, extra large, jumbo, colossal. You know what I mean? What's in the boxes, how the loading goes. I'm learning a lot. And in retrospect, as I'm talking to y'all, not only am I putting myself in a position to have another means of income that's universal, I'm learning how behind the scenes I'm getting business experience and I'm trying to run medicine ball and I'm just like it just clicking, you feel me? And I think it's very important for me to say that because sometimes we got to change what our goal is and what we're looking to get out of things. And if you locked in spiritually, you have to learn to have faith, and it takes time, but you will begin to see things that make sense. God's thoughts and his ways is above ours. We can't even think of his. So I got to keep telling myself that, you know what I mean, as I'm going through this, because there are some very frustrating days down there. Again, I'm a natural. I got four sisters, right? And it'd be my detriment sometimes because I'm gonna do the man stuff. So it's just like, even though you might be a woman and you have carried these boxes for 10 summers and you know how to do this, like if I see you there struggling, it's just in me. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's gonna be probably more work, more tedious, and then I know how patterns work. So if I come off the rip being extra and everything, they're gonna expect this from me. You feel me? I'm helping. You know what I mean? It's dope. It's dope. I don't want to get too much into it because, well, I guess I got to throw in some characters because they're gonna make sense. I'm learning about it. I'm learning that they have a relationship with people up north, and there's this truck that comes down, and I'm seeing the numbers of what they're paying to get all these crabs, and it's going real smooth. And I'm learning about the area, and her Franklin's brother, who I've never met, has a airboat, and I'm starting to go out on boats and fish, and because I'm naturally charismatic, you can drop me in the middle of I don't care where, I'm gonna be alright. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna know how to move and keep my head low and still be personable. So we do all of this. Side note, during this time, you know what I mean? Because what's happening is I'm stepping away from this Atlanta lifestyle. And even me coming back to celebrate my birthday here, let me see, it's day and night. It's day and night. Atlanta always got something to do. I may not be the person throwing the parties. I may not be in the studios, but I still do some of these things and have these connects. I could do whatever I want within reason. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way, but it's just like I be at the Falcons games in the box seats. I be at the clubs in the VIPs. I be at the studio sessions with these known rappers and stuff. You know what I mean? And for me, I've been doing it for so long that it's not that big of a deal. But when you go to another environment where it's not even that, Florida like to drink. They got bars. These folks gonna go get off of work and go hit a bar, or maybe go out on a boat and be drinking on a boat, or if you can afford it, you know what I'm saying. So it's just a different thing. So I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm starting to see the crab business and understand how it can go up and it can go down. So Jay is very intertwined in the business to where she has certain responsibilities. And Jay can be difficult to deal with this sometimes, because this is a person I don't know. And mind you, since I'm starting at the bottom, I don't mind Franklin, who I known for 10 years, because we're more like sister and brother, and it's her parents who own the business. I don't mind her bossing me around a little bit. But when Franklin and Jay be trying to boss you around, and Franklin telling you one thing, and Jay thinks she's the boss sometimes, so she telling you something different, it could get kind of tedious, right? So all of that to say, some things happened to where eventually the truck that was going up north, which was our one of our major people that we were dealing with, not retail, but distributors, major money taking a majority of the crabs that are being brought in. Because let me give y'all a little bit about this. So it's a location. There's certain crabbers who go out every day, and every day they cycle, they catch the crabs, bring them in, we weigh them up, we store them, and we sell them to the public, and we sell them to wholesalers. Right, that's where I was operating at the time. Eventually, with everything going on, and Franklin, her parents are away. They're in a whole nother state. They're in Alaska. They're literally across the country. So I'm getting to see, and I know more now, how like her being a woman, and mind you, I got four sisters who are strong women I love, who got dope leadership, boss jobs. So I ain't on this whole male should be doing, you know what I'm saying, that traditional thing. You know what I mean? When it comes to physical things, yeah, I may feel some ways, but other than that, women are typically smarter. They can do the paperwork better, so forth and so on, right? But I'm seeing that it's a little bit difficult for her because her father, who's the OG's, not down here, and people is kind of playing with her. So long story short, eventually we lose the truck that's taking a majority of our crabs and supplying a majority of the money each week. We lose the truck due to some bad crabs going up there. You send somebody 15 boxes, and eight boxes of them ain't right, and you lose that money. And we talking 5 digits for that truck each week. I get it. We lose the truck. Now, this is an important turning point in the story, and I'm just giving y'all like where I've been, giving y'all something to talk about, and mixing in, some of the things I had to go through. And I know this seems like loaded, but this is like literally the first month or two that I'm talking about right now. So I got plenty of stuff that I'm gonna get into for y'all during this season and tell y'all what we kind of learned from it. So we lose the truck, and that's important because now you have a situation where her dad's the OG. So when these crabbers come in, even though we might not be able to get the crabs off, for the most part, the company, they're gonna buy the crabs from the crabbers. So what that does is it can put you in a situation to, if you don't have retailers or if you can't find another wholesaler to deal with, you have all these crabs you're trying to struggle to keep alive and get off. Now, you have to understand we're in a community that Franklin's familiar with because her parents was there and she spent some time there growing up. Jay has been at pretty much her whole life. So when it comes to the work versus the pay and the lifestyle and whatnot, they're a little bit more used to it. I mean, of course, Franklin's getting more money because it's her parents who own it. Jay's getting more money because she's been there longer and they used to it. But me, I'm starting to look at it like, and I'm gonna keep it a buck because I can laugh about it. Some days when it be so hot out there and sweaty, and I'm doing so much lifting of the crab crates, bait coolers. Now, mind you, when I'm grumpy, this is how I'm looking at it. But in my less emotional times, I'm learning how to drive forklifts. I'm learning how to deal with refrigerated trucks. I'm learning how to deal with air conditioners. You feel what I'm saying? I'm learning how to deal with credit card machines. I'm learning how to deal with large inventory orders. I'm learning how you maintain a physical business. In my grumpier times, I can't necessarily see that. And that's just something I want to point out to y'all. We have to understand, and we're gonna get into this more. I know we talked about it last season, but we have to really grasp control of our thoughts and our emotions to where we can actually have some control over them. You feel me? Oftentimes when we have emotions and whatnot, they're valid, but our timing be wrong. You see what I'm saying? If you're in a parent teacher conference and you're upset about something and there's a whole people that you got to know your audience, that's not the time to stand up and yell and be looking all crazy. Your emotions may be valid, but that may not be the time where that emotion is going to be most advantageous to you, right? I'm in a situation where it's like with this crab thing, you either in or you out. And if I would have left it any time early or got grumpy any time early, man, some days I was out there. I was joking with some of my homeboys, like, man, I'm gonna go out here and sing some Negro spirituals because it used to be days when I used to be out there in the heat and I'm having these two white women yell at me and it was just giving me, I don't know, man. It was giving me them whole vibes. You feel me? And I understand that I'm being unreasonable, especially even for the person I just said I am. It ain't even about that. You feel me? But I felt like that in my days because here I am, the new guy who's giving off for Franklin because she's my homegirl first, and just living and being this guy who I've been practicing to be. Even though I'm in this weird situation, I understand that if I want to be a certain person and have a certain identity, I got to be the same way. So I had to fight through that. So what happens is because we lose this, now we gotta scramble. Now we have to find out how to deliver crabs. They have a refrigerated truck. Man, I was the crab ice cream man, man. Sometimes we had to pull up and it be our people, I ain't gonna lie, in the hood and open that side door and be slanging crabs like they ice creams. You feel me? All of that to say, these people up north who are getting the crabs, there's also people from that same area because I don't want to give all the juice. You feel me? I ain't putting their whole business plan out there, but um, the people from this area also have a relationship with her dad, and I'm gonna call him Peter. That's his name, Peter. You know what I'm saying? Or I can call him Rabbit, which I probably would never do in person. But anyway, they respect him, so he has relationships with people from out of town, where in their state they can only probably do this crabbing thing certain months. It's year round in Florida. So these guys are here, so we have other crabbers bringing in the crabs. It's kind of like a home team crabbers who are like people who are using Peter's boats because he's not there and his traps, and then we have people who have a relationship with Peter, but they have their own boats and their own traps, if y'all get my drift. All of this to say, all they worried about is selling crabs. So this is going on, and something happened with them to where they left. And this opened up an opportunity for the same guy who called Phil, Jay's dad, who said, yo, it's a black guy here, opened up an opportunity for him to come on board as a crabber. He's experienced, he's friends with Peter, he knows what's up, he knows how to run the boats. We were having an issue with some of the guys up north. He was our main crabber. Well, when you crab on these boats, you at least gotta have one crewman. I mean, you could try to do it yourself, but it's not gonna be efficient because you gotta steer a boat, hook a buoy, pull that buoy up, open the trap, get the crabs out, make sure they go into a specific place, bait the trap back up, throw the trap back out in a particular line. It's just easier to do when you got somebody else who's driving the boat while somebody else is pulling, right? So something happened to where the guys up north, one of their guys was crewing with Peter, and he was running a boat when I first got down there. He wasn't able to do it himself. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It would be days when we needed crabs and he wasn't pulling nothing in. So and the business is weird to where it's like when you can sell crabs, you don't be having them, and when you have them, it's hard to sell them. So I think the guys from up north went on a trip and they took him with them, bringing in Phil an opportunity because somebody got a crab. Peter's not there. You know, there's other crabbers on deck, but it's different little stories going on, which I'll get into more as because this is like a whole Netflix series with the drama with the because I mean to be honest with you, I'm really like the odd guy out just watching it because I don't have no relationship with nobody but Franklin, and it ain't been on no crabbing business. So I'm watching some of the crabbers be on drugs. I'm watching the crabbers tell stories about other people cutting their traps and throwing traps on top of them and threatening them and writing sticky notes and leaving them on the buoys and coming up and messing up traps. It's so much going on. So, so this is what happened. There was a falling out with the guy that Peter left. He was a local, and he did some. What did he do? His name was Dan. Dan was just immature. We would have days where we needed crabs, and Dan would just sleep in and not go. So that led Dan's crew man was a guy from the northern crew, and long story short, when the fallout with Dan happened, the guy from the northern crew ended up running his own boat. He wasn't able to cut it, so we had to get Phil involved. I'm telling y'all this for a minute because I end up getting on a boat way earlier than I thought. So I'm trying to set up how a guy who don't know because it's not like that. If you don't know nothing about it, or if you ain't somebody's son or something, and you think you just gonna get on a boat and grind it out, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. So after Dan left and the northern guy is crewing Peter's boat, he's not cutting it. So we bring Phil on, and the northern guy, we'll call him Gary, right? Gets demoted from the captain to a crewman, right? So that's what's going on. So then the northerner guys decide to go back up north, and Gary's knows them. He came down with them. He goes with them. So now we're in a situation to where Phil, the same guy who called and said this is black guy walking around, he's captaining the boat. Let me tell y'all something. Phil like 60 something years old, but man, drugs, and I ain't even gonna say drugs, right? Let me not say that. Drinking. Let me say drinking. Being out on the boat, it's hard on your body. So Phil is not in the best shape. And now we're at a situation where since Gary left, Phil's trying to pull these traps by himself. Phil tried it one day. He brought back like a half a box and he was out there for like 4 hours. I'm sitting in there. Phil's like, why don't he crab with me? Now, mind you, at this point, Phil realizes that the black guy is down here to help his partner's daughter run this crabbing business, and you judged him wrong. And I don't know if he knows that I know he called to my who's this black guy, but I could kind of feel that he was trying to make it right. You feel what I'm saying? His daughter is Jay. So even though he's cool with Franklin's dad, Peter, Jay is still his daughter. I'm still up there making sure ain't nobody trying to run roughshod over her, take advantage of them or bully them or do them dirty because it's two women working. I think that got some respect for me. I get on the boat. Now, mind y'all, I'm like a month and a half in, and I'm realizing where the money is and what my opportunity was. But in the back of my mind, I was kind of like, man, it's going to take too long. I'm not feeling this. Guy got away, man. I'm on the boat. Now, let me tell you what I was making at that shop each day versus what I made on one day, my first day on the boat. I think I made damn near what I made in a week and my first day out on the boat. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit about this boat and I'm gonna wrap it up. I know this has been a loaded episode, but I just wanted to let y'all know where I was. And get out on the boat with Phil. Now, mind you, I know Phil's this guy that they slick say he racist. He don't even like black people, right? But it's crazy how when you in certain experiences, when you gotta trust another person, trust another man or woman for that, it is weird. It's kind of like a KKK member. If they was about to die, they'll definitely let a black specialist operate on them if it saves their life. You feel me? And I don't want to take it that extreme, but it's kind of them vibes. So I'm out here on this boat with Phil. Now, mind you, I know how to swim very well. I'm not scared of the water. Shout out to my parents. They always had me at the beaches. I done swam down the Chattahoochee, all up in the mountains at my timeshare. I done been in water. I know how to swim, right? But boy, let me tell you something. These crabbers leaving at 5 a.m. in the morning. When you out there on that water and it's dark and it might be rough and depending, you might be in a skiff or something like that. Then waves hitting and baiting the crab traps. Y'all can go look online if y'all want to see what this involves. And yeah, man, you pulling up out of the water. You're having to cut fish in half and put some fish in there. You're dumping the old bait that was in the trap out. And I'll tell you right now, it's nothing I've ever smelled worse in my entire life. Now, mind you, I just came from working at a crab shop. Nothing I've smelled worse in my entire life. Not the sulfur water, not chitterlings when your grandparents cooking them. Nothing. This some old bait that's been sitting under this dirty ass water in this river for 2-3 days. Some rancid fish. Some people use chicken. Some people use pig feet. Some people use shrimp heads. Rancid. Ugh. It's nothing like that, man. So this is how I know that I'm gonna be in for an interesting trip. And this is how I know I was gonna learn something from Medicine Ball to become back and bring to y'all, because going out with Phil on top of everything else that I explained was very interesting. Let me tell y'all a little bit about my man Phil. I told you he's an older guy. He's been out on the water for a while, knowledgeable with fishing. It's kind of racist because he older. Phil even to this day says some stuff sometimes where I'm just like, cringeworthy. Older guy. Race car driver. He races cars. He has a race car. This is prevalent to the story, relevant to the story. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and tell y'all, after this little boating trip, Phil was so tight with me, man, and this was weird. He takes me over to his house, which is Jay's house as well, his daughter, and he has a car under a tarp. And this man is so proud, and I'm going to tell y'all why we got so close so quick. He pulls the tarp back on his car. Tell me why there is a picture of Donald Trump holding the AR standing on top of a tank. And he was so proud to show me this picture in his race car. But you know what? I ain't even take it personal, because that was his way of trying to bond with me. It was at that point that I knew I was in with the good old boys down there. You feel me? But back to Phil. So we out on the boat. Phil doing a little showing off. I'm going to keep it a buck, because Peter don't even know this. And I highly doubt Peter's going to listen to the podcast, which is why I'm going to share this. Phil out there showing off. You know what I'm saying? Not only do you have a newbie who's interested, and I think that's one thing about me. If you're knowledgeable in something, whether it be because Phil taught me so much about fishing, whatever, if you're knowledgeable about something and somebody wants to get that knowledge, it's something universal there, right? It's like it will make you want to give him. So all of that say, this man Phil showing off, cutting down stuff. I'm pretty sure he don't cut down. Let me drive the, but you know what I'm saying, just showing off. Man, we get through the first day and it's hard work, y'all. It's hard work pulling them traps, y'all, fighting with them crabs, y'all. But surprisingly, we made it through that joint. And this is what makes the next part of the story so ironic. So I ain't been on my phone or nothing. I wanted to show him that I take it serious. I realize this is life or death out here. I didn't think it was, even though I wanted to, I didn't think it was cool to be on my phone, especially my first time, the whole time taking all these pictures, right? I'm doing a good job per Phil himself, who actually, this is another part of season two, y'all. He don't even want to crew with Gary no more. He think I'm gonna be on his boat, even though I'm gonna be on Peter's boat. But that's another story. Man, we get the crabs done. We're doing our thing. Now, mind you, during this thing, this man Phil is showing me his age because he doing things like swerving through the buoys to hook them and getting the propeller stuck on him. So now we got to stop the boat. Old man Phil hanging off this propeller. I'm holding on to him to keep him from falling into the water to unhook the rope from the propeller so you can keep moving. I don't care how you feel about black people. If a guy come on your boat and he's willing to do that and go with you, it builds a different bond, bro. It built a different bond. So Phil's going back and forth doing this, and he hit a couple of buoys and had to do this. And eventually, now I saw this, he takes his wallet out and puts it in one of the crab buckets. It's important why I'm telling y'all this, and I'm gonna bring all this to a climax. He puts his crab, but I seen that, but like, you know what I mean? I'm just an observant person. That was just for me, and I'm glad I seen that. So anyway, we doing all this. I'm like, man, Phil, I'm thinking to myself, he cannot do this by himself. Like, oh my gosh. We done, y'all. We done pulled up like 200 traps. We got like 3 boxes. We done sorted them and everything. Now I'm deciding to pull out my phone. I'm gonna take a picture. We on the way back to the dock. The crabs is sorted. Everything is safe. We not pulling gear. I'm taking a picture, and it feels up there with this boat, and this is a skiff. So a skiff means that it's a very flat bottom boat that's designed to be able to go into shallower water. If you got a big V-hole boat or something that's heavy, you ain't gonna be able to go into 2, 3 feet of water. Skiff goes right over the top. All of that to say, it's like a drift car. So when you going into a curve, if you don't accelerate, you're gonna keep sliding that way. I'm on my phone. Phil just whipping his boat, being cool, thinking he a racer, going fast as hell, but I ain't been on too many boats, you feel me? So I'm thinking, yo, he going a little fast, but who am I to say anything? Man, this man looking back at me, talking about put a plug in one of the holes in the back of the boat. I don't know why Phil is going 55 miles an hour and trying to talk to me when I can't hear him. I'm at the back of the boat. Bruh. Phil's turning around looking at me. I'm looking straight ahead, man, and there's some land approaching us very quickly. And I'm talking about fast. Now, mind you, I don't know much about a boat. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. I'm like, but I guess Phil must have seen my eyes because he turned around. Y'all, we was right up on land. They call this running aground, right? We ran aground, y'all. Phil turns around and he starts. This got one of these little, I don't know how to, these little knobs on the steering wheel. You know them old school cars that had a knob so you could really whip that? And Phil's just spinning his joint. And I'm seeing the land approach. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yo, y'all, the boat is turned sideways. And what Phil should have done is, once he got it sideways, punch the gas to get it out of there. Phil was playing with it, so we just slide into the side right into the land. Now, I got to think quick. This my first time. I've been on boats, y'all, but like in this situation, whipping around this little river with it. Well, I lied. I had just went out with Franklin's brother, but I felt more comfortable in confident in his boating abilities. This dude Phil was showing off. I had to think, y'all, because like if I'm standing up on this boat that don't have high walls and it hits the ground, I'm gonna go over, right? Because you standing up. And it's like, do you want to go over and be on the ground, which is going to hurt? Or do you want to go over and be in the water that you're not familiar with? So I had to think quick, y'all. I had to hit the deck. I just went straight flat into the boat. And to this day, my shoulder, and Peter don't even know this because this is Peter's boat Phil is running. And I just had to get down to where I pretty much land down in the boat. And when it slid, it hit the land. You know what I'm saying? It slid me across the boat. Hit my shoulder, actually injured my shoulder. And it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Man, one of the boxes of crabs went up and exploded. So mind you, mind you, the boat didn't get destroyed. So it bounced up against the land or up against the bank, threw everything everywhere, and then it's just kind of floating, idle in there with the trees overhanging it, right? Man, these crabs running around on the boat. I'm down on the boat, face down. I see these crabs. I get pinched, and I ain't got pinched the whole time. I get pinched during this. The craziest thing, which is funny now, is I look up at the front where the wheel is, where the helm is, or whatever. Phil ain't there. Phil ain't there. I'm like, man, where's this dude Phil at, man? Did he go over water? Man, it's loaded, y'all, because we're in something called slickers. And we got galosha boots on. And it's like if them boots fill up with water, your slickers fill up with water, it's gonna pull you down. And this is stuff that Phil just mentioned to me, but now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, Dad, this dude in the water. I'm gonna have to go jump in the water. Man, Phil's laying on the boat floor, man. I see a hand come up and grab the steering wheel. See him pull up, he holding the back of his head. Phil turns around, he's like, Trey, you all right? And I wasn't, but I ain't want him to feel bad because I could tell he was embarrassed. I was like, yeah, Phil, I'm straight. And he was like, well, I'm not. Yo, man, this was kind of my initiation because I mentioned something about a wallet. So y'all gotta like kind of keep in mind, like, you get into an accident, you know what I'm saying, and you on a boat, some stuff goes overboard, it throws stuff all over the boat, you will lose some stuff. Like, we lost some stuff in the water that day. We finally get back, you know what I'm saying? It kind of goes without saying where Phil's like, yo, we ain't gonna say nothing about this, but I had to say something I had to tell Franklin because now my arm all sore and everything. But the thing about it was, and this is when I realized, like, this could be something bigger than just the opportunity to make a good amount of money. Because the first thing that happened was normally you pay your crewman a set rate. Phil decided to split everything down the middle, which I was very thankful for, but it also allowed me to see the earning potential on a light day. That's a day we wrecked. He wrecked. I ain't wrecked. The second thing that happened is Phil comes back over to the house. It's a small town, right? Small town mentality. Phil lives like a couple of grassy roads over from me or whatnot. But just like I mentioned earlier, they just be looking out for each other's houses. So Phil comes back down into the cul-de-sac. We'll call it the trap yard over there by Peter's house where I'm staying. And he knocks on the door. And I could see it in his face. He was like, Trey, did you see my wallet? Now, mind you, at this time, I know Phil's background. I know what they've told me about Phil. I know things that Phil has said. Nothing would be more impactful or powering to his stereotype than for the black guy to come on and take his wallet. Now, mind you, I came up with the new term while I was down there. OPS. OPS. Old people bleep. Right? I ain't gonna say it on here. OPS. And I really started that dealing with my dad and some of the stuff he did, but Phil's looking like, where's my wallet? Did you see my wallet? I was like, Phil, go tread that basket on the back of the boat, bro. See if your wallet's in there. He found his wallet, and I could see his face so relieved, but I also saw in his face that he was ashamed. Phil was ashamed because I had already showed him what type of man I was, regardless of my color. Like, bro, I damn near was out there having to save your life, potentially jump in the water for you. I'm hanging onto your trousers while you trying to unhook these buoys from the thing. You think I'm gonna take your wallet, bro? And I know he knew that, but he felt bad about that. And I could see it in his face. And from there, me and Phil have become friends, y'all. Phil gave me a couple of baits. He taught me a lot about fishing that I had never learned from just my black community in general. And it's just so loaded because it just lets me see even things like how we're taught fishing. Phil took me to Lake Okeechobee. We went out on the bass boat. Phil let me drive the boat, caught some bass with him, and to be continued. All of this to say, because I know this has been a long episode, but I gave y'all enough stories and things for y'all to be excited about. All of this let me see, and again, you got to be in the right mindset sometimes to see where your life is going, and it has to have a uh, spiritual factor in it. It has to have something to do with stepping out on faith or looking at things and understanding what you're put here to do and how you're going to further the kingdom and how you're going to be a good person and lead by example in a world that's hurting. Humbly, this let me see an opportunity where I could become better doing some strenuous work because, y'all, I got a ton of stories left. This is just one story. We ain't even gotten to the deliveries. We ain't even gotten to the relationships. We ain't even gotten to the dating. We ain't even gotten to all of that, right? But I want y'all to know this is where I've been. And as I go into this second part, because like I said, now I'm about to go down, and it's season 2 of crabbing because I'm specifically going to be on the boat, not only on the boat, but with Peter, Big Dog. I've already heard the stories and I'm excited to get back down there, but I think it's important that I continue to show y'all that, like, sometimes life and our goals and what we want to do rarely does it really look like what we want it to. And a majority of that is because we don't want to put in the work that we may have seen. Like, so for instance, let me give you an example. If you want to be a basketball star, you want to be Steph Curry, bro, you got to be more than just tall or able to shoot. You have to want to put in the same work, if not more, that that person did to get the exact same result. And I think a lot of times we trick ourselves into thinking that just because we work hard or just because we're doing something difficult, that our goals should work out the way we want them to, that the result should come when we want it to, that the result should look like what we want it to. And rarely is that. So I want to leave y'all with this today. Be open to the things that's going on in your life. Don't always look at them as a negative. That's not good for your mind. It behooves you to start changing your perception of the things that are going on and being happy with where you're at, making the best of where you're at, still putting in the same discipline and still being the same person that you're striving to be, regardless of your outside and outward circumstances. Because that will ultimately give you a better capacity to deal with these situations and be able to come out victorious in the end, y'all. All right. I know it's long winded. I need to ask y'all a favor. If you listening to this, man, take 1 minute, go follow me on social media, and I challenge you to do one more thing. What do y'all want to talk about? What do y'all want to see more from Medicine Ball? I've begun TikToking. I've begun dropping Medicine Ball video tips. I've begun revamping the website and trying to get more people involved. If you took the time to listen to this whole thing, man, I know it was long-winded, but please let me know what you want to hear. Send me questions. Let me know how I can make the podcast more relatable and more enjoyable for y'all. I've been long-winded, y'all. Don't worry, we got a whole season. I love y'all. This has been season 6, episode 1. It ain't even titled. It's just a chance for me to get back with y'all. I miss y'all so much. All my supporters, I love y'all. Stay up, like, subscribe, share, follow. To be continued. Yeah.